Thank you for that. So before I pass this over to Vanessa, I also want to remind folks that Danielle is posting background images, so please utilize those virtual backgrounds. We want to see your faces. We want to make this very engaging as much as we can be, and really utilize those comments, because that's how we are able to interact with one another during this time. And so just a quick overview of the agenda. We have two different acts. So for the first act, we have Jenny Clark-Morrell, who'll be sharing some words, and she is our executive director. We also have a keynote speaker tonight, Dr. Marco Angulo from Ultimate Health Services, and he has a really great speech to welcome with us tonight during this gala. Throughout this two different acts, we do have videos that we were able to record with two of our AIM board members, Dr. Loesa and Dr. Jimmy Franco, who will be sharing with us, what does mentorship mean for them, why they joined, and just like really friendly reminders. As you jump into the virtual settings, feel free to mute yourself if you don't want to share anything, just to make this more a really great space to be in. And Vanessa will also provide a program overview. We'll go ahead and review some celebrations that we've been having, as well hear from our Health Equity Fellow, Alex Perez, as well as Sienna. We'll also be sharing award presentations, so a lot going on. And we do have two speakers at the end. We will hear from Dr. Al Glover, one of our AIM board directors, as well as Dr. Connie Casillas, our AIM CEO and president. And without further ado, I'll pass this over to Vanessa.
Thank you, Joanna. Hello, buenas noches todos. My name is Vanessa Alvarado. I am this year's Chief Executive Officer, and I'm really excited to share this space with you all and celebrate another year of MiMentor. So before we jump into celebrations, I'd like to give a thank you to our sponsors and partners who have heavily believed and supported the mission and vision of MiMentor. And it is because of partnered organizations such as these and community partners that we've been able to do all the programming that we'll talk about a little bit later tonight. But just a quick shout out before we jump right in. And if we can move on to the next slide, I'll go ahead and hand it over to our Executive Director, Ms. Jenny Clark-Morrell.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am fairly new to MiMentor. I've been here about 6 months, and I wanted to start by sharing with you a little bit about my experience so far with our student leaders. So these people are just truly incredible. I find it to be such a blessing to work with all of you. And there's just so much grit and perseverance and so much vulnerability as leaders, which I think is the mark of a true leader and great leadership. And all of you are so open about sharing your stories and your lived experiences. And the community is so open to hearing you and listening to you. And I believe the two greatest gifts we can give to each other is the gift of our stories, of our lived experiences, of sharing of the self, and the gift of being heard and being seen and being known. And so this is such an incredibly powerful organization, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it. With that, I would like to share a little bit about how I came to know about health equity. So my first experience in learning about this concept was when I was in law school, and I was studying, in particular, public interest and social justice law. And I was in a toxic torts class, and we were learning about land contaminations and the impacts on those local communities. And this really opened my mind to a lot of things. And I'm grateful for that course and where it's brought me. And I wanted to talk a little bit, just share with you something that comes with health equity that we are never going to get to see and never going to get to measure. When you give someone a greater quality of life, when you give them a greater lifespan, and when you're serving the communities that are underserved and underrepresented in medicine, ultimately at the individual level, you're helping a human live longer, and also you're helping all the people that they love because they get to share more time with their loved ones. And so it becomes the grandchildren who get to spend more afternoons with their grandparents. It's the families that get to have more memories making together, and the best friend who gets to have more afternoons with their best friend well into retirement. And those gifts of memories and time together and sharing of the self are the things that bring us the greatest joy in life. And so I really want to thank you all for the work that you do for the betterment of all of us. And with that, I would also like to thank all of our donors. You're going to see a lot about our impacts tonight and the ways in which our community has been impacted by MiMentor's work. And it's my hope that after seeing all of this tonight, you will either continue to be a donor or become a donor, because none of this would be possible without you. And we're very grateful. So with that, I would like to hand the stage back to our MiMentor leaders, who you are here to hear from. And my deepest gratitude to you, and thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much for those words. And now it is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight, Dr. Marco Angulo. As Medical Director for Medical Education and AltaMed's Institute for Health Equity, Dr. Marco Angulo brings an invaluable combination of experience and perspective, thanks to his extensive background in training, teaching, and leadership in a federally qualified health center setting. Dr. Angulo is committed to training the next generation's workforce to serve the medically vulnerable areas of Southern California and throughout the nation. Dr. Angulo's passion for mentoring and training is personal. Born in East Los Angeles to parents who were Mexican immigrants, the future Dr. Angulo knew his life's work was to serve. He graduated from the University of California, Berkeley with a degree in Chicano studies and entered medical school at the University of California, Irvine, where he was selected to be part of the prestigious program in medical education for the Latino community, Prime LC, a program created to develop physician leaders to address Latinx health disparities in the United States and beyond. Dr. Angulo stayed on as a faculty member at the UC Irvine Family Medicine Department and as director of the Prime LC residency program. In addition, he served as the UCI Director of Diversity and Inclusion for the entire medical school. Before joining AltaMed, Dr. Angulo also served as Chief Medical Officer of a federally qualified health center located in Santa Ana, California. Throughout his career, Dr. Angulo has challenged the next generation of physician leaders to chip away at health disparities and develop solutions to lower barriers in patient care. Since joining AltaMed in 2018, Dr. Angulo has been instrumental in building a medical education department, including a new family residency program, a physician and nurse practitioner fellowship, a leadership course for AltaMed physicians, and a nursing workforce pipeline for licensed vocational nurse to registered nurse. In 2021, Dr. Angulo was awarded the California Medical Association's Gary S. Nye Award to honor a physician who has made a significant contribution to physician wellness, and the Clinician of the Year Award from the Association of Clinicians for the Underserved. Not too shabby. Dr. Angulo has been a passionate supporter of MiMentor, and it is my honor to welcome him to our metaphorical stage. Thank you, Dr. Angulo, for being here tonight.
Thank you, Vanessa. Oh my goodness. I was like, who is that guy? Thank you. I'm humbled. And I first off, I just wanted to say, I'm so honored to be here today before so many driven and motivated future healthcare providers, as well as being here with all your coaches and mentors. I see them on the side. The Loezas are here. I see everybody on this chat, so it's going to be great to hear from them that continuously guide us along the way in our journey. My name is Marco Angulo, Dr. Angulo, and I'm a very proud family medicine doctor, and I've dedicated my life to serving the medically underserved communities. That is the only reason why I went to medical school, the only reason. It seems that every day along the way, I have a pinch me moment that I'm really doing this. And I don't want to wake up from this. And this is an absolute dream that I've had. The patients I see day in and day out are a constant reminder of the blood, sweat, and the tears it took to be where I'm at today. And I often get asked the question, was it worth it? Would you do it all over again? Without missing a beat? And the answer is absolutely yes, 100%. So during my 15-year journey from going to community college to graduating from medical school, I've had a lot of time to think about what's important to me in my life and what brings me joy. And I've come to the harsh reality that I am immortal and I only have a set time on this earth. So I can't do everything. I can't be everywhere. And I ask myself, what's meaningful in my life? And what am I going to do on this short time I have in this world? And this has brought me to 3 purposes I have in my life. So my number one purpose is to be the best husband I can be. I ask myself every day, am I giving 100% to my relationship? If I'm not doing this, I'm not, it's my career's over. Before this, anything gets in the way, any career goals, if I'm not doing my job as being the best husband, I'm going to get another job, another career. I'm not going to sacrifice anything for that. The second purpose I have is to give my life service to the medically underserved. I work at a place called Ultimate Health Services, where the mission statement is embedded on the floor of our corporate office. It's the promise to continue to serve the Latino, multi-ethnic, and medically underserved communities of Southern California. And this is my why in why I do medicine. And the third purpose I have is to help train the next generation of healthcare professionals to serve the medically underserved communities. So we need to bestow the tools that we've learned to our next generation. And this is why when I was asked to be the speaker today by Joanna in this beautiful venue, I responded with an emphatic yes, absolutely. I didn't even think about it. And I did it in less than 2 minutes after reading the email. And to tell you the truth, I didn't even know if I had anything planned for today. I'm glad I didn't have any weddings, any baptisms or anything today. So I figure I just move things around, and this was too important to pass up. So you are the why for me and for many of us who are now professionals set in our careers, and why we keep reaching out and seeing how we can continue to engage, guide, direct, support you in your path so you can fulfill your dreams in whatever you want it to be. So I've been meeting with students for over 25 years. I've served on admissions for 7 years at UC Irvine School of Medicine, and I had many necessary and contentious battles and support of students that some of the on admissions thought would not do well in medical school, um, that are now changing the world as physicians. And I've had the privilege of seeing thousands of students become healthcare professionals, and now working side by side with them as colleagues at Altimed and throughout the US, knowing them since they were freshmen in college. It's been quite exciting. And and thought I've seen it all. But you know what? I've never seen a movement such as this one that you're involved in right now. I've never seen such a push. I mean, it's by any means necessary to make sure that our communities are served by culturally sensitive and holistic healthcare workers. Now, this movement should be coined the MiMentor movement. What every single one of you has done on this platform is giving yourselves to each other. You know, as mentioned earlier today, you've been able to create this amazing community where you share, you foster, and you grow. You've been able to amplify your voice and to make things this lonely path that we once had with people with great hearts and with a desire to serve the most vulnerable communities, and possibly even being the first in your family to take this journey. You've made this place a home for them and for us, a safe space where everyone gets cheered on for success. And you've been able to write your own narrative of this really competitive path and give back to others walking in that pathway. So I have to applaud you for that. When I was coming through the process, we had something called studentdoctor.net. And I'm just kind of remembering even taking a glimpse of posts on there when I was an undergraduate increased my anxiety by tenfold. I mean, somewhere on there was like, I had a 4.0 and I got a 520 on my MCAT and I was rejected from every medical school. And I remember thinking, what chance do I have? Is there any way, there's no way in heaven that I'm going to go to medical school. And there were people on there just to cast doubts on my hopes and my dreams. And now we have Reddit, we still have probably studentdoctor.net and other social media outlets. And it's so easy to see where people on this journey can get lost and get discouraged, but not you, not MiMentor. What you are a part of it is exactly what our communities need. It's just beautiful on how you've built this. and you've offered inspiring stories, sponsored events so students can have a place to call home. You've made it a friendly place, and you've given it the okay to be vulnerable on this journey, to be human and caring, just like the healthcare professionals you're going to be. And you've changed the narrative from if I get in, and it's changed to when I get in. And you continuously cheer each other on. And in my 20 years plus experience doing this, I have never seen anything like this. This MiMentor movement you've created, you are all part of it. And I believe this is going to change healthcare as we know it. So I'm really proud to be a part of that by any means necessary, because this is our place. These are our communities. This is our house. Nobody does it better than us. Nobody. And you know that. So the past 3 years have been a reminder of all the inequities of our healthcare system, which has been made evident by the way the pandemic has affected different populations. Our communities of color were hit hard during the pandemic. And while most clinics closed shop, I'm proud to say that we worked overtime at Altamed and in our federally qualified health centers. When the vaccinations were available and distributed to Dodger Stadium and Disneyland, I'm so proud to say that we demanded that we had our own supply of vaccines because we knew where our patients were. This was personal to us. This was our calling. This is why we went to medical school for. What I was so proud of was the overwhelming support we received from volunteers such as yourselves, that you put your life on the line, not to put it on your resume or your application to med school, but to genuinely help, because this was also a calling for you, because you saw what it was doing to our communities, our families, and our loved ones. And I remind all of us, if not us, then who? If not you, then who? Who will do this work? Who do we trust more than us in being leaders in our communities we grew up in? There's no one better than you. And when you doubt yourself, that is a question you should always ask yourself. If not me, then who is going to do this work? And I did want to leave you with a message today. First off, I wanted to thank all of our amazing mentors that are now professionals that have tirelessly given their time to guide and mentor our next generation of healthcare workforce. I just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I know no one is paying you for this. You do not get a paycheck. You're just paying it forward. Somebody did it for you. And we used to do this, which seemed in a silo, but because of MiMentor, the MiMentor community, it has brought all of us together so we can all see what everybody's doing and share best practices and success stories. And I love it. I don't feel like I'm doing this by myself anymore. I have Dr. Montes over there. I have Dr. Loeza, I have Dr. Casillas. Next, I want to congratulate all the brand new professionals that have graduated from their respective schools or joined the workforce in healthcare. If we have any new grads today, somebody, if you could use your emojis or whatever, let me see some raised hands here in the audience. Anybody new? Be recognized today. You're gonna love your new job, unless you're going into residency. No, I'm just kidding. Remember to be kind to your patients, but most importantly, be kind to yourself. And I know we have some medical students here, right? It wouldn't be a MiMentor Gala without medical students. So show yourselves too. If you could, let's see some hands raised. If you could raise your hand if you're a medical student, just want to see that you're out there. There's only two things I want to say to you. One is get comfortable being uncomfortable. In other words, expect the unexpected. That way you'll always expect it. And the second one is every day, throw yourself into your work and your studies. You will learn something new each and every day. If you didn't, then you didn't show up. And I want to make sure that you're showing up. Enjoy it, capture it. This is the time you will be making core memories. and have mental pictures on your patient's experience, which will last a lifetime in your practice. I've learned so much more from my rotations that weren't family medicine that I still use today in my practice. So, and for those of you that have finally made it through, that have received your acceptance to a professional school, oh my God, congratulations. You did it. Let me see the hands. There are hands out there of the graduating, the people going into the profession. Welcome to the family. You are about to embark on a ride that is absolutely so difficult to describe. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. But before you begin that ride, take this time and relax, relax, relax. This will be one of the last summers of your life, but you won't regret the ride, not one bit. Trust me. Lastly, I wanted to say something to our pre-health students that are here today. I did want to share 3 life lessons that have helped me in my journey throughout medicine that have really taken a load off of my mental burden. And hopefully it gives you something to think about yourself. Number 1, with any dream, you need to be the first to truly believe in it. You need to own it. You need to live it, breathe it, and expect it will happen. You need to rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. I'm talking about daily affirmations and convincing yourself that this will happen. Once you start this process, that's when something magical starts happening without you even wanting it to happen. You will believe it with a conviction that you will not let go. And everyone around you will start believing in it too. Oh, and you'll have your naysayers at first, but who cares? It's not their dream, it's yours. And this is where you will continue to grow your team of supporters because everybody wants to be a part of your winning team. I remember when I got into medical school, it seemed that everyone was taking credit for my success at the time. It just showed how much of a support system I had, and I appreciated it so much. So right now, in this chat, we're going to take a minute I want you to do this. Put your name first, last, and comma, and then the degree that you are aiming to get, you're aiming for. Or even if you already have your degree, throw it in there as well. So let's make this public. So if we go on to the chat, there you go, Vanessa Alvarado, MD. Oh, I love it. Looking at this. Adrian Aranda, MD. Look at that. This is crazy. Erica Venegas, MD, Joanna Gonzalez, Martin Vasquez, MD, MS, Roxana Ramirez Huerta, MD, MS, MBA. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for doing that. It looks so powerful. I could sleep better now. I know that our communities will be well taken care of. So life lesson number 2. And when I let go of this, I got my life back and I felt I could breathe again. Everyone has their own unique path and journey. You are not behind anyone. Not one person's journey is the same. There is no such thing as a perfect 4-year plan. And I get it. It's this idea that we live with that occasionally creeps up, that doubt that circles us on a constant basis, especially when we begin to compare ourselves with others. It's always about time. When is it going to be my time? How much time is it going to take? Family members asking you, mijo, mija, when are you going to be going on this? Time is running out, looking at their watch. And these are all well-intentioned people. They are people that love us to death. They want to see our utmost happiness, and they do it so we don't get derailed, so we don't lose our sight of what we're doing and keep our goals and dreams. Combat this with a plan. Have a plan. Having a short-term plan and a long-term goal, and sharing this with people that you know have the best intentions for you. People that you call mentors and coaches, the very same ones that you have fostered relationships here within MiMentor. And realize that all advisors are not created equal, but you have the power to choose your own advisor that you feel will have your best interests in mind. You have the 100% ability to build your very own dream team of mentors and coaches. These are those people that you know will be with you with every success and help dust you off whenever you fall. And you will fall. That's a fact. We all do. And those are the people that will keep you going. Keep them close and keep them updated. And the last word of advice that I have that really helped me grow as a human being is the moment I realized that I belonged, the moment I realized that I was enough. You belong and you are enough. This concept of the imposter syndrome will creep up wherever you are at, from undergraduate to being a chief medical officer of a large multi-million-dollar organization. It's everywhere. And I remember in my medical school training, I learned how to read an EKG from a classmate of mine. He was by far a better teacher of reading EKGs than my medical school professor. I asked him, how is this possible? How did you get to do this? And he told me he's been reading EKG since he was 10 years old with his dad. See, his dad was a cardiologist. His grandfather was a cardiologist. So my first thought was, how is this fair? How do I compete? Do I even belong here? Then I remember going to our rotations in Santa Ana with him and seeing patients that reminded me of home. And that's where I took over, showing him how to work with the Latino population. That was my specialty. I knew then there was a reason I was in medical school. That's when I realized that my lived experiences meant something. You see, your training in being a healthcare professional doesn't start when you go to professional school. It doesn't start when you go to medical school. It started in your childhood with your life experiences. It started with your upbringing, and it'll continue on for the rest of your career. It is something that you will be working on for the rest of your life. There's a reason why they call this practicing medicine. You're always striving to be the better person, the better clinician, the better scientist each and every day. And each of you have a special superpower. Realize it and own it and share it. We belong here. We are enough. And we have superpowers we need to share. And we have communities that are counting on us because we know them well. So if there's only three things you remember from today's talk is the dream starts with you. You have to own it, stay on your path. It's your path, and realize that you belong. And I just wanted to close by saying that I always get really uncomfortable when people introduce me like today with Vanessa and the list of things on my CV and all the accomplishments that go with that. And I always think like, honestly, who is that person? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But I'm sure people think, oh, that person has had a pretty successful career so far, must have come easy. Well, these accomplishments always leave out the blood, the sweat, and the tears that we go through in our journey. We condense this and show only the victories, leaving all the failures on the floor. And my CV doesn't have the day that my life hit rock bottom and I was couch surfing because I couldn't find a place to stay. Nowhere in there is a time not having a penny to my name, stressing out and asking myself, how am I going to pay for rent? While walking to an organic chemistry final at Berkeley. My CV doesn't show the countless pre-med advisors that told me to take a different route, that medicine was not for me, that I was too old, that I was too dumb, and that I was too soft. You will not find the 3 failed MCATs on there, and that I fell asleep in the middle of one of them because I didn't sleep the night before. And I was thinking, if I don't do it now, then I'm never going to do it because I'm getting too old. And you won't see the 29 rejection letters that I received when applying to medical school and the countless tears each one of them brought that reminded me that maybe this wasn't the career for me. But we remember all those times that have shaped our life, whether good or bad, like if it was just yesterday. And more importantly, we remember those that were with us to celebrate those times and our amazing mentors. And with every patient interaction now that I have, I bring in all of that life experience. Never forget, it's the idea of transference, where I see a family member in a patient I'm helping, I want to go that extra mile. You're going to want to go that extra mile because they deserve it. And my endorphins in clinic go crazy. I love clinic. And my favorite part of clinic, just before you knock on the door, and I think about how I'm going to treat that patient on the other side. And when I go in and enter the room and I hear that click in the closing door, that's when that magic happens. It's such a beautiful thing. I want to share that with you. I don't want to keep this to myself. And you have chosen what I feel is the greatest career and one that I'm so proud to be a part of, to have the ability to walk into a room, sit with a patient, and just listen. That is priceless. As a doctor, a nurse practitioner, PA, you have the ability to make sure that your patients have the best care possible and that they feel supported throughout their life's journey. So your future patients, I promise you, are waiting for you. I'm telling them all about you. I'm telling them about what you're doing. And I know they're going to love meeting you. So it's been a tremendous honor for me to be here. I thank you for your time and I wish you all the best. God bless you and God bless MiMentor. Thank you so much.
Incredible. Thank you, Dr. Angulo. Thank you so much for being here. We're so honored to have you share space tonight. And again, thank you for all the support you have provided for MiMentor a través de todos los años. We thank you from the bottom of our heart, and hopefully everyone takes this message and has it resonate with them from this point on forward. Remember, you can, and if not you, then who? That's the biggest question to ask yourself every day. Alrighty, so just shifting gears a little bit, we'll be hearing from another incredible mentor, or actually, you know what? I think that got pushed a little bit later. So I'm gonna pass it over to Joanna, and she can go ahead and brief us all on the mission and vision.
No, thank you so much. And I want to say thank you again, Dr. Angulo, for being such a great keynote speaker and really providing that mentorship towards us. And yes, to more to come. And that's what MiMentor is all about. And for those who are not familiar with MiMentor and just more of our mission and vision, our mission here is to develop and support innovative mentorship opportunities that will inspire the next generation of diverse healthcare leaders for underserved communities. And our vision being a world where all aspiring and current health professionals have a mentor. This is a little bit of our mission and vision, and there goes a lot behind addressing this and really accomplishing and aligning with our mission and vision, and that goes with a lot of like programming. But before we dive into more of our programming, I want to actually, we want to share this really great video from Dr. Margarita Loesa, who is very instrumental as AIM board director, has done a lot with MiMentor, and also one of the founders as well. So I'm going to click play.
Mentorship is meaningful to me, and I think maybe because sometimes I felt I was lacking it, when I was younger. And I was looking for it all the time, but I didn't really know what it was or what it was called. And through the years, I've received a lot of mentorship, and I've mentored a lot of students. So it's become a really important way to help students and to help others achieve their goals and kind of enjoy the success of others. And seeing your students thrive and seeing them work in clinics and hospitals and teach, it's really important to continue that. I think it's a good way to give back, and it helps you, round out your friendships and your relationships with people. So my work in health equity has been different over the years. As when I was younger, it was tutoring students that had trouble. Teaching, I taught before med school. I was a teacher for 2 years, and I taught, low-income kids. I picked, I always pick the hardest jobs. So I did that. And so I think that was a form, teaching others what you learn, teaching people who have less than you, that was one way. The other way is when I was a doctor was working at a federally qualified health center, working with undocumented, uninsured, and unhoused people. It was a way of, you know, for me, leveling the playing field, trying to give them the same access that I think others had and that they deserved. And now I work as the Assistant Dean of Admissions and Student Affairs for Charles Drew University College of Medicine. And my role is, as the admissions dean, is I have to be very intentional about equity and access, because in order to achieve that, we need providers that have language concordance with their patients, that have cultural and racial background that's similar to their patients, and that have really a true sense of community, come from the community and work in their community. So I think that's another way that I've been working on health equity. It's so hard, and that it's such a huge problem that I think we can all work at it from different angles and in different ways, through teaching, through seeing a patient one at a time, and through mentoring students to become physicians. The advice that I wish I had heard early on would be to not procrastinate. I always say I worked better under pressure, but I think that was just my excuse to procrastinate. But you know, I got over that in medical school really fast. But and also to kind of be more intentional and reflective as I went through this journey. I think I always wished, like when I was in college, I can't wait to be out of college. I want to go to med school. When I was in med school, I can't wait till med school's over. I want to be a resident. And then when I was a resident, I just want to be an attending. And it's just like, I wished away like a good 15 years of my life. And I think that I should have just enjoyed being a first year med student, enjoyed being an intern, as hard as it is, and enjoyed being an attending for the first time. But it just taken, you know, just kind of slowed down and reflected that I shouldn't have been worried about racing through it, but about learning each step of the way and just taking time and enjoying that. I was a medical student, and that was a big deal, and that I was an intern, and that was a big deal. So it's just kind of like not wanting to rush through life, and learning how to be happy in each stage of your life.
We hope you enjoyed that video by our own Dr. Margarita Loesa. And there will be 2 more videos throughout the programming. But before we get to those videos, we want to share a lot of great accomplishments with our social media. So as of now, we're close to 9,500 Instagram followers within MiMentor. And for our own application or our app, we're close to 15,800 members. So that's amazing. We started, you know, years ago, and it's been growing every year. And we use a lot of our social media platforms to outreach to those, you know, underrepresented students in healthcare who need that mentorship. And we use these platforms to really provide this promotion of like Together We Mentor events, as what we can see here in the slide. As of 2022 to 2023 academic year, we have hosted 37 events, including 13 mock MMIs. And I do want to do a really great shout out to SoCal board, Jose Obeda and Sienna Martinez, who really led the first in-person mock MMI at Kaiser Permanente. So there's been a lot of great accomplishments within this academic year. This has impacted close to 1,300 total attendees and averaging to about 32 folks per event. For Together We Lead events, these are more of our programming that takes place with like conferences styles. And for this academic year, we have hosted about 6 events. And again, at MiMentor, we're always thinking about ways how we can engage best with the community outreach. With a pandemic, we learned a lot with, you know, we can do this virtually, but let's try a hybrid. We wanted to outreach to other folks who, like East Coast, that may not have, you know, programming there. And so we did a hybrid Women in Medicine conference, and the first in-person conference at Northern California. So that was our Northern California region up in UC Davis. We've also had our mental and behavioral health conference. Shout out to Yesenia Bonrosto Ramirez, who led that really great conference. And it was a really great turnout with a lot of partnerships that happened with UCLA MedPep. So just to list out other programming that has happened recently has been our pre-health conference at Pasadena City College, also with another partnership within the club there, as well with our Central Valley location. So this just speaks volume to a lot of work that goes behind the programming, but it's not possible without your support and like the community and all what, like the reason why we do this is to really make more impact towards other URM students who really want to pursue a career in healthcare, but just need that mentorship. So without further ado, I'll pass this over to Vanessa, who'll present more on our accomplishments.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you for that beautiful recapitulation of what we've done this year. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about a hidden little gem of MiMentor's programming, which is the Medical School Readiness series, so MSR. And it is essentially a year-long cohort that takes students, which this year we had up to, I believe, 131 participants of various demographics. And it really just takes those students who come from first-generation backgrounds that don't really have that accessibility and mentorship within their own family unit or within, you know, primary connections that they have, to kind of guide them through the process of the medical school application for the AMCAS system in a way that is digestible and comprehensive. So again, it's a year-long cohort. This past year, there was 12 different workshops touching upon different subjects and different components of the application. And we're just really excited to continue this program year after year and offer it completely free of cost. This wouldn't be possible without the support of our very generous donors and also the support of the community, the support of all the mentors who volunteer their time and give back and pay it forward and dedicate so much of their free time to their mentees to really get them to the level that they need to get to for the next step of their career. So we're very proud of this amazing series and work. And more than anything, we'd like to give a thank you to all the directors and all the co-leads of the MSR program who put in tireless amounts of work every single month of the year. They don't really take time off. So shout out to Chris. I know you're here, and Jordan and Stephanie and Jasmine and Marianne and Maria. Thank you all so much for all your work and tireless nights that you spent up replying to correspondences and, you know, checking assignments and the like. Thank you all so much for all the work that you've done. And we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about different programming that we've also included this year. So we had a really, really great, robust turnaround with the CCTI program, which, as Joanna mentioned, we had a conference, a pre-health conference at Pasadena City College in collaboration with the Caduceus Club of Pasadena City College. And this was part of our community college transfer initiative. So this essentially is a program initiative that was started a few years back in 2020. And it was just to really focus on the specific needs of community college pre-health students and, you know, what their distinctive needs are at their stage of the career. And really to emphasize on the fact that folks coming from community college level tend to go back and serve their communities. So why not invest in those types of students and kind of give them the scaffolding that they need to build up their career. And also the Together We Wellness series was crafted and leaded by Dr. Lisa Montes, who is here with us tonight. And it really is to prepare, it is a month-long, or I believe 6-month-long cohort that takes students to different workshops tackling different subjects in wellness. And this is in order to really hone in and double down on the strengths and resilience of students to prepare them to with the mental fortitude and resources that they'll need to kind of survive the healthcare industry as it can be. Realistically, it can be very demanding and very, you know, there can be a lot of biases and, you know, implicit biases that happen day in and day out. So just to kind of really give everyone that sort of support to be able to fall back on when times get tough, and to really, again, double down on the resilience of students and give them the necessary tools and sort of guidance that they'll need in regards to making sure that their wellness is priority moving forward. So that was a very successful cohort this year. I'm glad to have been part of both and or both MSR and Together We Wellness. And I also kind of wanted to touch upon something that I didn't really talk about in the previous slide, but it was the MSR beta program. It's Together We MCAT. That was also another program that we kind of launched. And it was done this year with Sebastian, Rafael, and Jordan, who are 3 mentors who were essentially took their time to take on students from the MSR cohort and guide them through a series of essentially workshops tackling different subjects, part of the MCAT. So preparing those students that may not have the resources to buy a prep course or may not have the necessary, you know, connections to kind of understand tutoring or receive tutoring or, things of that nature. So it was done to, again, supplement that accessibility or provide that accessibility to resources that would help them succeed. And we did have a couple success stories from this year where students were able to improve their score on their MCAT thanks to our mentors. So that's also another thing that I wanted to shout out really quickly. But without further ado, we'll kind of shift gears into the next stage of our programming. And I wanted to first give a big shout out to our incoming executive board, and we'll kind of briefly take a look at their names and see all the folks who will be coming in. Round of applause. We're so excited to MiMentor is going to be in great hands next year. And we're excited to see a lot of folks come back and a lot of new members join us on the executive board. So again, thank you all so much for your support, your hours that you've put into work and to really keep this organization going, because the student leaders, you guys put in so much work and balance so many different hats in your personal life. So again, just want to give big acknowledgement towards that. And we can go ahead and move on. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to my colleague, Sienna, who will talk a little bit about the MiMentor Health Equity Fellowship.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sienna Martinez, and I am honored to serve as the incoming External Chief Executive Officer of MiMentor, as well as the Program Coordinator for our Health Equity Fellowship and Summer Internship. My journey with MiMentor began in 2020 when I became an ambassador after transferring to UCLA from my hometown of Fresno, California. When I first joined this organization, I had little to no confidence in my abilities as a leader. I rarely spoke up, and I had never envisioned myself in the positions that I hold today, let alone speaking at a gala. I was oftentimes joining Zoom with my camera off, kind of just in the background. So despite my initially timid nature, MiMentor still took a chance on me. And with the support of our amazing team of leaders, I've since taken on various leadership roles and played a pivotal part in developing and launching our community college and transfer initiative. I'm now confident in my path as a future healthcare leader, committed to advocating for health equity with a specific focus on women's health and environmental justice. MiMentor has profoundly shaped my personal journey, and I'm so eager about our mission to create innovative and inclusive mentorship opportunities for students from historically disadvantaged backgrounds. Together, let's continue to make these opportunities available to students who would not otherwise have access to them. I would like to thank the California Department of Healthcare Access and Information. Thanks to them, we had the opportunity to launch our inaugural Health Equity Summer Internship Program. This is a 6-week pipeline program that introduces students to community-based primary healthcare. We placed 20 interns at our partner sites, the Kaiser Permanente Thrive Summer Academy and the Harbor UCLA Summer Urban Health Fellowship. The programming at these sites consists of mentorship, community-based research, public health and social justice curriculum, community and clinical-based health projects, and clinical precepting. Students will learn skills in community needs assessments and implement innovative programs to support their communities in their fight for justice. Additionally, we launched our inaugural Health Equity Fellowship, also funded by the California Department of Healthcare Access and Information. This is an 8-month part-time fellowship for students in their gap years. Our 5 chosen fellows were placed at our partner clinic and training sites based in areas with health professional shortages. Placements include Kauai Health Hospital in Central Valley, LA County Department of Health Services, White Memorial, South Central Family Health Center, and Kaiser Southern California. Fellows choose to undergo mental health first aid training, medical interpretation training, or medical scribe training. Each fellow will also complete a health improvement project in primary care or behavioral health upon completion of this fellowship. An integral component of our Health Equity Fellowship and Summer Internship is that these are paid opportunities. Stipends offset costs that enable students from historically underrepresented in medicine backgrounds to participate. By providing financial support, these programs promote equity and ensure equal access to these valuable experiences, empowering these students to pursue their professional growth without financial barriers. Thus, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the California Department of Healthcare Access and Information again for their invaluable support and contribution towards developing and supporting mentorship opportunities that are inclusive and innovative. It is with immense appreciation that we acknowledge the commitment of the state of California, which, through its thoughtful governance, has provided funding for these evidence-based programs. Together, let's continue our collective efforts to foster diversity, inclusivity, and a more equitable healthcare system. Additionally, I'd like to thank each and every one of our partner sites, as this fellowship and internship would not be possible without them. Lastly, I'd like to express our deepest gratitude to AltaMed for their incredible support over the many years. Their unwavering commitment and dedication to our organization is truly remarkable. Their contributions have and continue to make a significant impact in helping us fulfill our mission. Thank you, AltaMed, for your ongoing support in making our work possible. With that being said, I'd like to introduce one of our fellows from our inaugural Health Equity Fellowship, Alex Perez, who is completing her fellowship at our partner site, the South Central Family Health Center. Alex, please feel free to take the virtual stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sienna, for introducing me. As she's mentioned, I'm one of the 5 Health Equity Fellows. My name is Alexandra Perez, but I go by Alex. I'm currently placed at the South Central Family Health Center, and this center is a federally health qualified center, so I've been learning a lot about that side of things, but just overall working with this program has been amazing. I love collaborating with my peers within the clinic and within the mentorship itself. I'm able to take workshops and learn from Dr. Casillas and my fellow peers, as we all just kind of share all of our experiences and what kind of guided us toward looking at health inequities within the healthcare system. And I feel like what personally kind of led me to apply for this fellowship has been working for a previous federally health qualified center. I worked for AltaMed as an outreach intern during the pandemic, where I was able to go out into the community and offer them resources, offer vaccine appointments. And this really just pushed me to kind of put a definition to what I've been experiencing my whole life. And it was just amazing. It was transforming for me. So it kind of led me to further my education and my experiences working with the Latino community within South Central. So I'm really honored to just be working at the clinic. And my passion project recently has been to kind of just connect with the community and see what stressors they experience. So I started a blog that's called The Stress South Central Carries. And each blog, I tried to connect my own personal story to those of the community members. So my first blog was A Place Called Home, just kind of identifying that where we grow up can place a lot of stressors on our life. Where I grew up in a low income area in California, so I know what it's like, and I want to relate to community members to let them know that they're not alone. My second one was for Mother's Day, just talking about how difficult it was for my mom to live with immigrant parents and struggle with these gender roles within her life. So each blog, I just kind of try to connect to different stressors within the community to show that we shouldn't just have to accept our stress as being normal. So I just try to amplify community members' voices. And I'm currently working on a project where I'm going to go into the clinic and try to conduct interviews and offer gift cards. So I'm able to really just talk to community to see what we can do to help them through their stressors, possibly more behavioral health resources, more pamphlets, just trying to talk to them and connect with them, because sometimes they don't feel like their voice is heard. So yeah, my blog is really something that I hold close to my heart, just because I'm able to talk from my perspective and relate to other people and see what community is saying. I'm also able to go out to community events and still offer resources. I'm kind of just able to do a little bit of everything, which is why I love the MiMentor Health Equity Program. I really appreciate everything that they've done for me, and I'm excited to keep going to the workshops to talk to my fellow peers and keep talking to Dr. Casillas, because she's been a great resource. And yeah, everything's just been great, and I hope they're able to continue this program because it's been amazing for me, and I hope others are able to experience it as well. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex, for that amazing presentation and sharing your experience around MiMentor Health Equity Program. I know we are very excited to, hear more about your experience as you learn more, and just being part of that community as what you shared here, with those lived experiences as well. So a round of applause for Alex for sharing her experience, and we look forward to hearing more throughout the year. And with that, we're going to do a little shift towards our programming. We are now going to announce some MiMentor Student Leadership Awards. So it is with great honor to introduce three student leaders. These are an ambassador, VP, which is vice president, and president. So every year we do an anonymous voting for our student leaders to vote. And these are the leaders that really, shine throughout the year regarding the work that they've been doing within MiMentor. Our first announcement that I would like to share is our Leadership Award Ambassador goes to Gustavo Garcia Jr. He is an ambassador for our Southern California region. So congratulations, Gustavo. I'm not sure if you are here, but please, in the next weeks to come, you'll be receiving a plaque that will say the MiMentor Leadership Award. So congratulations. The second award for our vice president goes to Deandra Montgomery. So congratulations, Deandra. She is our vice president of outreach for the Southern California region. And again, you'll be receiving a plaque within the next couple weeks. So keep an eye out. And last but not least, Sienna Martinez, Leadership Award for President. She is our internal president for Southern California. And just want to take a moment here to congratulate everyone with those three awards. We'll be announcing two more awards, which is our Chief Medical Officer and also our Chief. So more to come with this within the second act. With that, we'll be taking a short intermission. So we'll be coming back and resume in 5 minutes.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from intermission. I hope everyone enjoyed the brief 5-minute break. Anyone get any refreshments? I hope so. I'm currently looking at this amazing flask that I can't open because I forgot how to open the code. It's coded and sealed, but that's fine. In any case, though, I want to go ahead and welcome you all back to the 7th annual MiMentor end of year gala. And shout out to everybody that made it this far. Honestly, congratulations, everyone. A bigger theme of applause, but yeah, definitely. One of the bigger parts that I want to go ahead and highlight, though, was that we spoke about MiMentor. We talk about the community college transfer initiative. I actually am a community college student from way back in the day. Shout out to Gala College in Gilroy. And one of the, yes. Oh, if somebody wants to interject, I'm here for it. But in any case, allow me to continue. I want to just highlight a couple of themes. The theme that we have, the luchamos, seguimos, logramos, I feel like all of us across the board resonate with that, right? Because we all struggle through something. We all keep pushing through. We develop resilience, perseverance. We develop an enhanced ability to not just endure, but to excel under these pressures, right? We become diamonds. Although, like, if I shine bright like a diamond, you know, help me out, because, you know, I'm a sun-kissed person, so just saying that up front. But I wanted to share with you all a little something that came up recently that across MiMentor and MSR in particular, myself and my amazing team, or I should say the team that I'm affiliated with, most particularly Jordan, Jasmine, Maria, Marianne, and of course my counterpart, Stephanie Vasquez. These people are brilliant. But all of us individually tackled the MCAT separately. And one of the things that I loved the most was that all of us had our unique experiences about it. You never feel like you're ready. Even like right now with the skit, I never feel like I'm ready. But we all remember the first time we started walking. Did anybody fall? This guy did. In fact, I got the scar on the back of my head to prove it. But that's okay, because I figured out how to walk. And then the first time you ever asked somebody out on a date or to dance. Now, I'm Mexican, from Mexican descent, so one of the cooler parts is that my mom taught me how to dance. But asking somebody that wasn't affiliated with the fam made me sad. But I will say this. I remember the first time I took the MCAT. Nobody was talking when I showed up to the building. Now, my background's military, so I definitely showed up about 15, 20 minutes early, thinking, oh, you know, no one's going to be there. They had a line wrapping the building, not once, but twice. And I show up and I'm like, oh, I'm smiley. And if you know me, I'm typically a very funny person, or I try to be. And I'm never serious unless I have to be. And that was one of those moments where you had 3 types of people there: very serious, nervous, they stayed in their cars. And everybody was knocking on the door like, it's 7:32. And they had told us all in email, the building doesn't open until 08. So I go and I show up and I see this line. The people that are serious focused, they kept knocking on the door. So I figure, my background, of course, being military, I was a medic in the Army. I never cured anybody. That doesn't exist for us. We rarely save anybody by ourselves. And if we do it as a group. But comfort, oh, you could comfort anybody every day. It doesn't take that much effort. You just have to be willing to. It has to be genuine. So I go to the people that are nervous and anxious, because that's kind of my jam too. And I go, did everybody say their daily affirmations? Everybody starts laughing. Everybody starts crying, actually, because, oh my God. And then people start lighting up, people start laughing. And all of a sudden, the people that just like the first time they started walking to the first time they asked somebody, they start moving around. They start having these thoughts of like, oh, wow. Yeah, I'm nervous. Hey, do you know the Krebs cycle? Do you know this? I'm like, I have no idea what I know anymore, but I'm here. High five. And so from the first break to the second break, I like gummy bears and Sour Patch Kids. So I bought like 2 like Costco sized bags to pretty much every time I had a break, I pull them out and just pretty much hand them to people, thinking that'd be a great thing. I watched this movie called Patch Adams back in the day, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna be the Mexican Patch Adams. I just didn't know that it would take as long as my path has Case in point, Patch Adams, if you don't know who he is a graduate of the West Virginia School of Medicine who happens to be, I think he was 40 years old when he started medical school. I may look young, but I'm 39 and approaching 40. I didn't know this was going to be the case, but you know what? I'm so glad it did, because I come to you all, I got to meet everyone here, and more importantly, the journey, for those that don't know, or for those that may have missed the keynote speaker's lecture, the journey is your own, and it's beautiful because no one can take it from you, no one can replace it. And my personal favorite, even if you fall, it doesn't matter. The scars tell us beautiful story that totally light up the screen. So with that, I think I've gone a little bit over on my time. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I'm so juiced. By the way, this pup that you see here, her name's Lola. That's my service pup. She's amazing. And she's drooling and sleeping right now. So yeah, I'm so glad to be here with you all. Y'all take care. Mahalo.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that really cool and very funny stand-up skit. And just to kind of share more, when Chris came up with this idea, we're like, you know what, let's do this. We're gonna do this virtually. We want to really highlight also like the talents that, you know, we don't only hold the hat of being pre-med, pre-pharmacy, or whatever that might be, but we're also people that enjoy other, you know, talents, and really just to really highlight that. So thank you so much, Chris, for sharing that, and really looking forward to next year, you know, so look, next year's stand-up skit. So let's go for it. Now we'll be hearing from our own Bianca, who's a medical student at UC Riverside School of Medicine. So let me click play.
Hello, my name is Bianca Seves Martin. I've been part of MiMentor for about 7 years now, and I am a current medical student at UC Riverside. I'll be beginning my 4th year in July and will be applying for family medicine this fall. Mentorship has played such an amazing role in my life. I come from a family of immigrants. My parents only reached 5th grade in Mexico. And when we immigrated to the US, we really had no idea what it meant to be a physician, what it meant to go to college. I moved from my small little town in Northern California to UCLA at 17 years old, and I was a scared freshman that had no idea what it took to become a physician. MiMentor provided such an amazing mentorship, workshops, advice. I was really lucky that I found MiMentor when I was a sophomore at college, and I've been part of MiMentor ever since. I was able to get so much support as a pre-medical student, as a post-bac, and even now as a medical student. I really believe that the support I received from MiMentor through our various workshops, through MSR, through my mentors, was really what got me to this point where I'm a soon-to-be physician. I really had no idea what it took, and just all the support I got and all the help, and seeing people that looked like me becoming physicians and going to medical school plays such an important role in my life. Now I am a CMO with MiMentor and also a Health Equity Fellows Medical Student Mentor. And I've been a CMO for the past 4 years. I really love giving back and giving that support that I received when I was a pre-medical student. If I could give one advice to my younger self, is that I should not be scared of asking for help and asking for advice. When I was a pre-medical student, I was apprehensive about seeking help or guidance from mentors. I was afraid that I would not get an answer or that it would look bad. But now, through MiMentor and all the years that I've been getting to meet so many wonderful people, I have really learned that it's okay to ask for help, and that even though it might seem a little intimidating, the worst that could happen is to not get an answer. So always putting ourselves out there and asking for help, because we could get some amazing mentors from that. I am so happy to have been part of MiMentor for so long, and hope to continue that as a soon-to-be resident and soon-to-be physician, and giving back and Congratulations for another year to MiMentor and growing, and I'm so happy to be part of this amazing organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bianca. And I see you, Bianca. We really do appreciate your mentorship, and also you're going to be part of like the fellowship. So always, providing back to the community. So really greatly appreciate you being here and continuing to provide that support. So to more mentors to come. And that was just featuring our own Bianca. We do have one more video, so that will be from Jimmy towards the end. But now we'll be actually announcing more of our student leaders awards. We have two more. They'll be for our chief and chief medical officer. So first one is our leadership award goes to Stephanie Lopez, MSR Chief Program Officer. So congratulations, Stephanie. Again, you'll be receiving that plaque in the next weeks to come. Second award goes to Yarira Brigiosa, who is our MS4 at UCLA Division School of Medicine with the Prime program. So congratulations to all the student leaders who received this award. And this is just more of a token of our appreciation of what you all do. And we really do appreciate the work that you have provided to the organization. And with that, it is with great honor to share this next video, which features Jimmy, who's part of our AIM board director. So I'm going to click play as well.
Why is mentorship meaningful for me? I think to sum it up, mentorship is what has gotten me through so many difficult moments as I'm trying to move forward in my career and as I try to grow personally. Mentorship for me means community, it means growing. And for me, truly, mentorship allows for me to learn from the journeys that other people have had. And it's how I try to pay it back and pay it forward. I think as I first started MiMentor, one thing that always stood out to me was thinking about mentorship as multi-directional. I think we can always learn from one another. And, I believe no one is too far in their journey to not be able to gain something from witnessing the journeys people have had. So mentorship, I think, is present to cheer you on, hold you accountable, and also to hold you when things are difficult. And as many people know, I'm a two-time applicant. I have had to take the MCAT multiple times, and even thinking about the STEP exams and my journey through that, I have relied on my mentors. And really, I think of mentorship as a team of people that are there for you. And so mentorship, I think, lifts you up. And I firmly believe that I have gotten myself here by working hard, but also by the people who have helped me along the way and have showed an example of how to be a leader. I joined the AIM board for multiple reasons, and one of those reasons being an opportunity to be able to contribute back to an organization that I found quite formative to my growth as a pre-med student and also in my leadership. But more specifically, I wanted to help breathe in, new energy and energy of someone who has participated in the leadership of MiMentor, and also to hopefully continue to build bridges between the lived experiences that people have as they're trying to achieve their goal in being physicians or someone in healthcare, recognizing that not everyone starts from the same place. And I think with my personal journey, I believe that I can bring into AIM some really personal and I think relatable experiences that hopefully will continue to help us center our values and really the voices of all of you as MiMentor leaders. And so I really think of my involvement as AIM as a continuation of the work that I've been able to do, and really trying to gift back what I know I have personally benefited from. So a little bit about my work in health equity. First, I'll start off by saying I think many of us are already doing health equity work even before we recognize that it's health equity work. growing up in a family of monolingual Spanish speakers, growing up in a family of immigrants, of family who have no connection to the healthcare field as a profession. I and my siblings have always been truly health advocates and health navigators for our family. And so I think that's where so much of that work originated from before I had the language for it. And, you know, I think my time in undergrad as a Chicanx studies major, I think really gifted me the consciousness to think about all the histories and all the experiences that our families have and we personally have and our communities have around issues of social justice, issues of oppression and racism that has allowed for me, I think, to build out a career that has centered what I now recognize: culture, humility, intersectionality, and also thinking about health equity. And so my journey, I'm very proud of having had a journey that has allowed for me to be involved in things, not for what it looks like on my resume, on my CV, but for what it does for me as an individual and as someone who's committed to health justice. And so the way my work currently looks like is I'm currently a second-year pediatric resident at UCSF in our Pediatric Leaders Advancing Health Equity residency program. And so in that work, I get to flex my skills as a leader and also get to sit down and listen to folks who are leading this work. And so I think most actively right now, what I try to do in my role as a physician, but also as an individual in community who has, I think, years of work in community organizing, is really trying to think about how we engage with community from a lens that recognizes traumas that people have, recognizes that we experience daily racism and oppression just by existing in the United States. And so I think what my work is actively looking at is engaging in conversations with individuals in leaderships, whether it's in my program as a resident, whether it's in MiMentor through the AIM board, or just really participating in community activities. I think to like sum it up, for me, the way I approach my work in health equity is to really build off of the work that I have been doing since undergrad, since, you know, being that health advocate for my family, and really taking those experiences and allowing for them to speak, I think, loudly when moments of oppression occur. And so for me, it's about speaking up whenever I can and calling out instances of oppression and racism when they happen. And I'm really happy that I'm able to do that as a physician, because it does carry weight. And we bring a lot of power with the roles that we take on and really with the experiences that we have with our families. One more thing that I would add is how I think I'm flexing my work in health equity is I'm a creative person, I'm an artist, I'm a writer, and that really matters to me, and it matters how I show up in this world as an activist. And so one thing I'm really proud of is really flexing my creativity in my role as a physician. So I'm actively working on opening a small art gallery within our space at UCSF in our pediatrics department, Mission Hall, which is where we do a lot of our lectures, to allow for community conversation and uplifting young people's art related to health equity and social justice. And I think I'm sharing that for us to know that we can bring our full selves into our work and be creative and be loud, and also be silent and flex our skills in silent ways. And so I think for me, it's just really thinking about how I can show up in the world and hold myself accountable to the beliefs that I have, that racism should not exist and that we should call it out when it happens, and all forms of oppression should be stopped. For me, is just really thinking about how I can show up in the world and hold myself accountable to the beliefs that I have, that racism should not exist and that we should call it out when it happens, and all forms of oppression should be stopped.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. That was very powerful, right? A very powerful statement that we just heard. and something that very much resonates perhaps through like our lived experience. So thank you again, Jimmy, for being very authentic, sharing and, sharing these very important words. So with that, I know we've been sharing a lot of great videos, and thank you again to Dr. Margarita Loesa, to Bianca, to Jimmy for providing time to really, record these videos and knowing that it's going to make an impact towards where we'll be posting it in YouTube and in our other platforms. So with that, we'll be doing a little shift towards now celebrating those folks who have been accepted to grad school programs, whether it be public health, medical school, and also, or even graduating from undergrad to receive their bachelor's. So with that, for the next couple of slides, we'll be featuring a lot of MiMentor community members who will be celebrating currently. So please use those reactions, those comments to take this moment to celebrate those individuals. Congratulations once again to all those amazing leaders, individuals who got accepted to their graduate school program or graduated from undergrad, receiving their bachelor's. We really hope that MiMentor has influenced you to continue pursuing your dreams. And as always, we're here to mentor and give back to the community. So again, congratulations to those amazing graduates. Now we'll be shifting towards our next AIM speaker. It is with great honor to introduce Dr. Al Glover. Dr. Al Glover is a board-certified podiatrist in foot and ankle surgery for over 30 years, whose diverse career offers a broader perspective of the profession, has developed integrated ideas about project management across departments, and the functional planning of clinical education podiatric surgical residency programs. Currently, Dr. Glover is a fellow with Climate Health Equity Fellowship affiliated with the Medical Society Consortium on Climate at George Mason University, Washington, D.C. At this juncture in his career, Dr. Glover has embraced a new professional challenge as executive coach at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, earning certification in career development with an emphasis on diversity and equity training. Dr. Glover completed the prestigious California Healthcare Foundation UCSF Leadership Fellowship and 2020, where he has returned as a pod advisor from 2018 to present. His extensive background and experience gives him excellent academic, clinical, and practical expertise, which he generally shares with his residents and fellows to help them fulfill their leadership and educational requirements. Dr. Glover was a lieutenant commander in the United States Navy and head of the Department of Podiatry at Corpus Christi Naval Hospital. It was part of the U.S. Navy Rapid Response Team for global disasters from 1990 to 2004. Additionally, Dr. Glover has been a deacon at West Angeles Church of God in Christ in Los Angeles, California, and a part of the Brotherhood Healthcare Committee since 2009 to present. And finally, Dr. Glover has been a part of the MiMentor board since 2020 to present. Without further ado, I'll like to welcome to the stage Dr. Al Glover.
Thank you so much, Joanna. I'm just blown away by the brilliance of not only our keynote speaker, Dr. Angola, but all of the student leaders. It's just been inspiring. My talk will be brief because we don't need to belabor. But one of the things that I was able to get involved with, as has been stated, I had the opportunity to be involved with a Climate Health Equity Fellowship out of Washington, D.C. with the Medical Consortium of Climate and Health. But what I was blown away by is the climate injustice and racism. So one of the things that we have to do, this is one of 10 presentations that I've have to present to members of the EPA and NOAA, and also the Natural Consortium on Rivers and Waterways here in the United States. But I wanted to talk about my own hometown, here in Los Angeles. Where I live, we have oil wells. And one of the things that we have to deal with is the exposure of Black and brown communities to dealing with these extremely toxic and carcinogenic types of environments. When we start talking about social justice, one of the things that we have to remember is Black and Hispanic communities, we're disproportionately exposed to carcinogens and highly toxic chemicals that have affected our communities. And when I've talked to Sienna about some of the things that I want to try to do, we can go to the next slide. One of the things that we want to try to do is to start a climate an environmental task force within MiMentor. We want to get students involved. We want to get them to understand that we're not going to continue to take this type of environmental racism that we've been exposed to. I was very impressed with what Jimmy has talked about with equity. This is all part of the equity lens. You know, we've had to deal with these odors and pollutants for generations, and it's time to change. It really is time to change, and we have to make the change. Next slide, please. One of the things historically, we've been forced to live in areas that have always been near factories, near oil wells or gas drilling consortiums. And we've had to be pretty much relegated to redlining, which has been just a tremendous disadvantage to Black and Brown communities for years, where we've been forcibly stuck in areas where we could not get out. And even with federal law banning redlining, the consequences are still here. So we're still dealing with a problem that we've been dealing with for over 50 years. Next slide, please. When we start indicators of vulnerabilities and inequities, they're structural. When we start talking about gas and oil, the types of things that we are exposed to, the serious threats surrounding our communities. One of those are the volatile organic compounds, or the VOCs. And they're these toxic brews of toxic gases along with methane, which is one of the most dangerous climate pollutant that we have to be exposed to. The other thing that we deal with is hazardous gas. And we deal with the petroleum-based gases known as BTEX, which are the benzenes, toluenes, ethylbenzenes, and xylenes. And these things are known carcinogens linked to leukemia and blood cancers. So we've been exposed to that. And what I see, even in my neighborhood, is we see fracking and this crazy, what we call slant drilling. So what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we've shut down this well, but we'll slant drill a mile or two underneath people's homes. And this slant drilling and fracking is affecting our groundwater, and ultimately it's going to affect our drinking water. Next slide, please. When we start talking about the consequences that we have to deal with, we have to talk about the respiratory complications. We talk about the wheezing and all that, but the chronic exposure is as dangerous to our lungs as breathing freeway air and secondhand smoke. And I know that a lot of our clinicians that are on the call, we're dealing with a trifecta. I deal with people who are living near toxic oil wells, they're living near freeways, and they're also living with people who smoke. So we're dealing with a double-edged sword. But one of the things that really strikes me here in the state of California is that African-American life expectancy is the lowest of all racial groups, and they have the highest rate of breast, cervical, colorectal, lung, and prostate cancer among all groups, followed by Latinx and other minority groups. Blacks have the highest rate of prenatal, postpartum depressive syndromes, preterm birth, low birth weight, infant mortality, and of course, what you've heard, maternal mortality rates. And these things are directly reflected to exposures to toxins and environmental contaminants. Next slide, please. One of the things that we have the benefit of is we live in a state that is trying desperately to change the narrative. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a landmark setback law in September. But one of the things that we're faced with and why we have to be vigilant and activists is the oil companies wasted very little time to try to start referendums to change the narrative, to see how they could get around being accountable. The setback rule basically bans reworking, repairing, and adding any new wells within safety zone areas. The one good thing that we have, and I'm very proud of, is that activists here in Los Angeles and the city of Los Angeles and the county of Los Angeles, they've set forth stricter guidelines. And I think that this is something that we need to lead with. We need to bang the doors down and make sure that people hear about what we're trying to do. Finally, next slide. One of the things that I saw when I was in DC is that the Biden Harris administration has really tried to move the needle. In on Friday, April the 21st, 2023, President Biden created an Office of Environmental Justice that recognizes racism as a fundamental driver of environmental injustice. An executive order created an Office of Environmental Justice to coordinate environmental justice efforts across the federal government. The order presses agencies to close the gap of data and use specific research to understand and prevent damage to people's health brought by pollution. So what do we want to do? One of the things that I had an opportunity to talk with some of the heads of the EPA is we want to formulate what we call on the ground student leaders that will be climate justice warriors. And what we're trying to do, and I know Sienna is spearheading this, is we want to do op-eds, we want to do TikTok, we want to do all the social media platforms. We want to plug into people like Alex, who do blogs, and talk about what's going on in your community. You don't have to go far, no matter where you are here in California or wherever. There's something going on that is not right. Either there's an old closed factory plant or something that is exposing our people to these toxins. It is something that we've got to fight. You know, we see what's going on now in Congress, and what I worry about is they're trying to cut a lot of the safety net programs. We have to turn the needle by being activists. And the one thing that I love about being a part of MiMentor and meeting the young people here, I've never been so inspired, and I've been all over the globe by the young people in this organization and our leaders. This is what makes me so hopeful that we can change the narrative. And on that, I want to thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Glover, for presenting that really powerful presentation. And we're very much looking forward towards, what's to come for like the next couple of months. And we really do appreciate your presentation here. We've been able to hear a lot of great speakers, and we're hoping that you're walking away out of this gala with not only celebratory remarks, right, but also, what's to come for like the next couple of months for MiMentor and what that means for our community. So with that shared, I'll pass this over to Danielle, who will introduce our closing speaker.
Hi, everyone. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce our closing speaker for tonight, Dr. Connie Casillas. Dr. Casillas is a family physician for Kaiser Permanente Los Angeles Medical Center, Pasadena. She is also on the faculty for Kaiser Permanente's Bernard J. Tyson School of Medicine and Kaiser's Los Angeles Family Practice residency. She has been working on healthcare workforce development and health equity programs for the past 7 years within Kaiser, as well as in her roles on various nonprofit boards, but of course, including Alliance and Mentorship as its CEO for the last 3 years. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our closing speaker, Dr. Consuelo Casillas.
Buenas noches a todos. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay, thank you to all the student leaders, MiMentor, who are hosting this virtual event. I'd like to just say a few words about hope as we close up here. Esperanza, my second daughter, Catarina's middle name. It has a lot of meaning for me, and I believe for this organization. So 4 years ago, I accepted the Alma Award from my colleagues at MiMentor, and I promised that I would do more in the future to give back to MiMentor. I had no idea at that time what the future held for MiMentor. 4 years later, a global pandemic that has ravaged our communities, racial and social unrest, personal and collective losses to our familias, our communities, and probably nearly 100 MiMentor students who have matriculated to medical school and beyond in that time frame. 2 former MiMentor student leaders, now AIM board members. Thank you, Drs. Franco and Del Rosario. Because of your hard work, we've had a 100% increase in our MiMentor membership. Because of your commitment and your persistence, we've had a 1,000% increase in our budget with 2 new multi-year state grants. Because of your love for each other and for this organization, we have persisted. We have learned a lot, we have grown, and we are stronger. A few days ago, I was at my partnership's New Hire University, where there was 190 new physician hires training to staff our organization across Southern California. In a demographic where there's nearly, and in many counties, over 50%, over half Latin population. Not more than 5% of those 190 new hires were Latina. That is not enough. We can do better, we will do better, and with your leadership, MiMentor will lead the way. So my grandmother immigrated from Guadalajara with her young mother and father to find a better life. Her father worked as a groundskeeper at a local Catholic school in Victoria, Texas. Of the 9 children that she bore, 1 of those children went to college. That was my mother. And although she didn't finish college, she went back later after having me and my siblings, and she simultaneously pursued her undergraduate degree with myself while I pursued mine. We are resilient. We come from resilient roots, and we face adversity with courage and strength. Earlier this week, an older patient of mine, 70 plus, who was recently diagnosed with an incurable neurodegenerative disorder, celebrated having been reunited with her biological mother's family after she was separated from her mother against her will at 1 year of life. With a smile on her face, we celebrated life and her blessings. She joked about her age and how it wouldn't really help her incurable neurodegenerative disease. We laughed and we celebrated life. My other patient who lost her husband recently to COVID and also went through 2 surgeries separately for 2 separate cancers she was diagnosed with within less than 2 months, is persisting with a smile, with strength, without flinching, without looking back. Because she's resilient, like you all. We come from resilient roots. So I'd like to close by telling you 5% is not enough. And although we've made some gains, especially in the last decade, maybe no coincidence because of MiMentor, in medical schools, we're closer to 12%. But we will continue to fight effectively and forcefully for equity in the healthcare workforce. for our patients, our communities, if that's what they need. That's what they deserve. So with tenacity and with humility for each other and for our collective community, we will continue to fight forcefully for health equity in the workforce. And I look forward to working with all of you in the future. I especially look forward to this organization being led by all of you, the future healthcare leaders, my future doctoras. And I thank you all for all of your hard work and your persistence and your resilience. We have hope. Thank you all.